He walked into his own dealership in disguise, only to be judged by the very staff he hired. The sun beat down on the parking lot of Elite Autos, a high-end dealership in the heart of Riverside, California, where the glossy luxury cars shimmered like jewels under the midday heat. A modest gray SUV pulled into an unmarked spot at the back, its driver stepping out with a casual air that didn't match the opulence of the surroundings. Calvin C. J. Jackson, 52, the new owner of Elite Autos, had recently acquired the dealership as part of his expanding business empire. But today, he wasn't dressed to impress. No tailored suit, no flashy watch. Instead, he wore a faded black hoodie, worn jeans, and scuffed sneakers, his decision deliberate. He wanted to see the dealership's true colors, to experience how it operated when no one knew the boss was watching. CJ scanned the sleek facade of the dealership, the glass doors reflecting the rows of pristine vehicles inside. Before walking toward the entrance, through the windows, he spotted a small group of employees chatting near the front desk, their laughter carrying faintly through the glass. As he pushed open the door, the cool air-conditioned showroom enveloped him, the scent of leather and fresh wax filling the space. Rows of gleaming cars lined the floor under bright overhead lights, but the chatter quieted as CJ stepped inside. He felt the subtle shift in energy, the employees' eyes flicking to his hoodie and sneakers, their glances speaking louder than words. From across the showroom, a woman approached with purpose, her heels clicking sharply against the polished floor. Monica Harper, 45, the dealership manager, had a commanding presence. Sharp features, a tailored blazer, and a clipboard tucked under her arm, her gaze assessing CJ with a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Excuse me," Monica began, her voice cool and clipped. "Can I help you with something?" CJ smiled, his demeanor calm and unassuming. "Just here to look around," he said casually, gesturing toward the cars. Monica's eyes narrowed, scanning him from head to toe, her polite mask slipping slightly. "Are you shopping for a car?" she asked, her tone laced with doubt. "Something like that," CJ replied, his smile unwavering. Monica's lips pursed, her posture stiffening. "Well, we cater to a very specific clientele here. Most of our inventory requires pre-qualification. Perhaps I can recommend—" Before she could finish, another employee called out, "Monica, the delivery guy's here." Her attention wavered, but her gaze snapped back to CJ, as if ensuring he wouldn't wander too far. CJ raised an eyebrow, his tone light but pointed. "You're assuming I'm not qualified." The question caught Monica off guard, but she recovered quickly, her forced smile returning. "I'm just trying to save you some time. These vehicles start at 6 figures. Maybe I can direct you to—" CJ. His expression remained steady, though he noted the sting of her assumptions. He glanced at a nearby silver sedan, its sleek design catching his eye, and brushed his fingers against the door handle. Monica's brows furrowed, her smile tightening. "Perhaps when you're ready to make a serious inquiry, we can set up an appointment. For now, I'll have to ask you not to touch the vehicles." CJ stepped back, hands in his pockets, and nodded once. "All right, let's hear it. What would you recommend for someone like me?" Monica blinked, surprised by his directness. But before she could respond, CJ added, "If you think you know what I need, I'm all ears." Her polite facade cracked, a flicker of impatience breaking through. "Maybe something a little more budget-friendly. I can give you directions to a dealership that specializes in pre-owned vehicles." CJ smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. He'd seen enough. "That's quite the assumption," he said softly, the words hanging in the air as Monica faltered, her composure slipping. Monica straightened her shoulders, regaining her composure as she turned briskly away. "I'll be back with a list of options," she said, her heels clicking as she retreated to the front desk. CJ watched her go, his expression unreadable, then turned back to the silver sedan, its glossy finish reflecting his disguised figure. This was going to be an interesting day. He stood in the center of the showroom, hands in his pockets, his gaze drifting over the lineup of cars. The staff resumed their conversations, though CJ caught their occasional glances in his direction. The kind of scrutiny he'd faced too many times before. silent judgment wrapped in coded looks. Monica returned moments later, her clipboard clutched tightly like a shield, her forced smile betraying her annoyance. All right, she said, stopping a few feet away. I've compiled a few options that might be more suitable for your situation. See? Jay tilted his head slightly. My situation, Monica nodded. Her tone clipped as she handed him a printout of pre-owned vehicles. Used sedans, older SUVs, compact hybrids, all well below Elite Auto's typical offerings. These are more accessible models, she said, emphasizing the word accessible, reliable, economical, practical. Jay took the list without a word, scanning the page with faint amusement before folding it and tucking it into his pocket. Appreciate the effort, he said, his tone even. Monica seemed momentarily disarmed, but quickly recovered, her hands resting on her hips. Listen, she said, her voice dropping, as if sharing a secret. I'm just trying to be realistic. Elite Autos isn't for everyone. I don't want to waste your time. Jay met her gaze, his expression calm but unwavering. And what exactly makes you think I'm not your target customer? Monica hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. I've been doing this a long time, she said. Pressing on, I can tell when someone's out of their depths. Out of their depths. Jay repeated, his voice neutral, almost thoughtful. Interesting. Monica's confidence faltered, but she doubled down. I'm just being honest. It's better to be upfront than to have someone leave disappointed. Jay let out a soft chuckle, shaking his head. Honest? Huh? I like honesty. How about this? You let me speak to the owner. Think we can make that happen? Monica's eyebrows shot up, her patience visibly thinning. The owner? That's not possible today. The owner doesn't just drop by for casual visits. They're a busy person. Joe nodded slightly. I'm sure they are. But maybe you could give them a call. Let them know I'm here. I think they'd want to meet me. Monica's smile tightened, her frustration bubbling to the surface. Look, sir, I'm trying to be as polite as possible, but this is getting ridiculous. I have other customers to attend to. If you're serious about buying a car, we can schedule a meeting with one of our sales consultants. Otherwise, she paused, her eyes narrowing. Otherwise, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The words hung heavy in the air, the showroom seeming to hold its breath. Joe stood still, his gaze locked on hers, then slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. All right, he said, scrolling through his contacts. I'll make the call myself. Monica blinked, her brow furrowing. What are you doing? Just calling the owner. Jay replied, lifting the phone to his ear. Shouldn't take long. Monica's confidence crumbled, confusion taking its place as she opened her mouth to speak, but found no words. Around them, a few employees stopped what they were doing, their attention drawn to the unfolding scene. Joe held up a finger as if to say just a moment, then spoke into the phone. Yeah, it's me. I'm at the dealership. Everything's fine, just a little misunderstanding. Could you let them know I'm here? He ended the call, slipping the phone back into his pocket, and turned to Monica. They'll be here shortly. Monica stared at him, her mouth slightly open. Who did you just call? Jay didn't answer right away, his gaze lingering on the staff, now watching intently. Guess we'll find out, he said, his tone almost playful. The tension in the room was palpable, the weight of it pressing down on everyone as they waited for what came next. Minutes passed, but the showroom felt frozen in time, the air thick with anticipation. Monica busied herself with her clipboard, her movements stiff and deliberate, betraying her unease, while Jay stood casually by a luxury SUV, his calm demeanor only heightening the tension. The staff whispered to one another, stealing glances at the unfolding scene, everyone waiting for something or someone. The sound of the main doors opening broke the silence, and a sharply dressed man in a charcoal suit stepped inside, his polished shoes clicking softly against the tile floor. His expression was serious, but warm, and his eyes immediately found Jay. Mr. Jackson, the man said with a wide smile, extending his hand as he approached. So good to see you. Jay returned the handshake with a firm grip, a small smile tugging at his lips. Thanks for coming, Marcus. Appreciate it. The room collectively stiffened, Monica's clipboard nearly slipping from her hands as her eyes darted between CJ and Marcus, the dealership's regional director. Her confusion morphed into visible alarm. Wait, Mr. Jackson, she echoed, her voice uncertain. Marcus turned to her, his friendly demeanor shifting into something more professional, almost curt. Monica, I see you've already met Miss Jackson. Monica blinked, her mouth opening and closing as she searched for words. I didn't realize. Marcus finished for her, his tone sharp. You didn't realize he's the new owner of this dealership. He glanced at CJ, an apologetic look on his face. I trust this wasn't your ideal welcome. CJ raised a hand, stopping him. It's all right. Marcus, I think Monica and I just got off on the wrong foot. His voice was calm, but there was a weight to his words that made the room hang on to them. Monica's face turned ashen, and she took a step back. Her clipboard clutched to her chest like a lifeline. I'm so sorry, she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know. Didn't know what? CJ asked, his tone gentle but firm. That I could own a place like this. That someone like me might actually belong here. Her eyes widened, and for a moment, she seemed utterly lost. I didn't mean... CJ held up a hand, cutting her off. It's fine, Monica. Really? But let me ask you something. If I hadn't been the owner, would you have treated me any differently? Would you have given me the same respect you'd give someone who walked in here wearing a suit and tie? Monica opened her mouth, but no words came out. The silence deafening. CJ nodded, her silence answer enough. He turned to Marcus, his voice carrying a new authority. Let's gather everyone in the conference room. I think it's time we had a little chat about how things are run around here. The employees filed into the sleek conference room, the air thick with tension. The glass walls and modern furnishings, usually a point of pride, felt stifling today. Monica sat near the back, her usual confident demeanor replaced with nervous stillness. CJ stood at the head of the table, calm and collected, his presence commanding attention. Marcus remained near the door, arms crossed, his expression unreadable as he watched the staff take their seats. Thank you all for joining me on short notice. CJ began, his tone measured but firm. For those of you who don't know, my name is Calvin Jackson, and I am the new owner of Elite Autos. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the room, some employees exchanging looks of curiosity, others embarrassment. Monica sank lower in her chair, avoiding eye contact. I came here today dressed casually for a reason. CJ continued. I wanted to see how this dealership operates when no one knows who I am. I wanted to experience what a potential customer might feel walking through these doors. He let the words settle, his gaze sweeping across the group. What I experienced today was disappointing. I was judged, not for what I could bring to the table, but for how I looked. And I'm not here to single anyone out, but we need to talk about what that says about the culture of this dealership. Monica shifted uncomfortably, her face flushed, as CJ's eyes briefly flicked to her before moving back to the group. This isn't just about me, he said. It's about every person who walks through those doors. Every customer who doesn't fit into someone's preconceived notion of what a luxury car buyer looks like. A younger sales associate, Ryan, raised his hand hesitantly. CJ nodded toward him. Go ahead. Mr. Jackson, Ryan began nervously. I think most of us try to treat customers fairly, but sometimes it's hard not to make assumptions. CJ nodded, his expression thoughtful. I get that. We all have biases, whether we want to admit it or not. But it's not enough to just try to be fair. We have to actively challenge those biases, create an environment where everyone feels respected, regardless of their appearance, background, or anything else. He paused, letting the words sink in. This dealership has built a reputation for excellence. But excellence isn't just about the cars we sell. It's about the experience we provide. From now on, that experience will be built on respect, inclusivity, and fairness. There was a ripple of agreement around the room, though a few faces remained wary. CJ's gaze settled on Monica, who sat frozen, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Monica, he said gently but firmly, I want to give you the opportunity to speak. Is there anything you'd like to say? All eyes turned to her, and she hesitated her voice barely audible. I made a mistake, she admitted, her cheeks flushed. I misjudged you, and for that, I'm truly sorry. CJ nodded, his expression unreadable. Thank you for saying that. I hope this experience will serve as a reminder for all of us, not just you, because change starts with accountability. He turned back to the group. Moving forward, we'll be implementing new training programs to ensure this dealership represents the values I believe in. Every customer deserves to be treated with dignity. No exceptions. If anyone has an issue with that, now's the time to speak up. The room was silent, the weight of his words lingering. CJ let the quiet stretch, then spoke again, his voice resolute. Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. Change isn't easy, but it's necessary, and this dealership is going to lead by example. As the employees began to file out, Monica lingered by the door, approaching CJ hesitantly. Mr. Jackson, she began, her voice low. I just want to thank you for giving me a chance to do better. I won't let you down. CJ looked at her for a moment, then responded, his voice steady. I hope you mean that. Monica, actions speak louder than words, but I believe people can change if they're willing to try. She nodded, her eyes earnest, and left the room. CJ turned to Marcus, a determined glint in his eye. Let's set up a meeting with the staff next week. I want to make sure everyone knows what's expected moving forward. Marcus grinned, his respect for CJ evident. You've got it, boss. Later that week, CJ noticed Monica engaging warmly with a new customer, a young artist in casual attire. Much like he had been, she listened intently, her demeanor now one of genuine interest and respect, signaling the beginning of the cultural shift. Jay envisioned it was a small victory, but it gave him hope that Elite Autos could become a place where people were judged by their character, not their appearance. A mission he was ready to lead